are joined by Mr. Dalu. If nothing else is fashionable. Next, and actually the bulk of the meat of the meeting this evening is a site plan, number 14-07, Roberto Vitale, Pine Brook Estates. This is a public hearing, so Madam Secretary, would you read that, please?
Yes, Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for approval of a single-family condominium project. Applicant, Roberto Vitale, 13344 Maple Lawn, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48315. Proposed use, Pine Brook Estates Condominium, 11 single-family units. Location, south side of 22 Mile Road between Shaner Road and Hayes Road. 14166 22 Mile Road. Sidwell number 23-07-25-126-003. Legal description is as follows. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, April 28, 2014 at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Municipal Building, 52700 Van Dyke, Shelby Township, Michigan, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the tentative preliminary plat application. The application for tentative preliminary plat may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffitt, Chair, Raquel Moore, Secretary. Publication date, April 9th, 2014, in the CNG newspaper. There were 367 property owners and 2 applicants notified on April 10th, 2014.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Denowith, did the publication meet all legal requirements as stipulated in local ordinances as well as state statute?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Madam Secretary, did we receive any correspondence related to this request?
Yes, we did, Mr. Chairman. In fact, we received several letters of correspondence via email to Glenn Wynn from Frank Bologna, and he is the president of the Thunder Bay Condo Association that abuts this property. Basically has questions about the drain and the site plan itself. We did receive correspondence this evening from the engineer on a follow-up question that Glenn had on several questions regarding the Thunder Bay Condo Association.
Okay, thank you. The format for the public hearing will be as follows. The petitioner or the representative will give a presentation stating the reasons for the request. The commissioners may then ask questions of the petitioner. The floor will then be open to the public for any comments or questions that they may have. And then finally, I'll call on the petitioner to respond to whatever was raised previously. At this point, is the petitioner or the representative here? If you could come up and give us a review of your request and the reasons for it.
Tom Kellogg, Lane and Finland Associates, representing.
Could I just ask you maybe to pull that mic up a little bit? Okay, thank you.
Representing Mr. Vitale and his partner, Mr. Pizzo, is in the audience.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. He can't be heard by anybody out here. Is the microphone on?
I believe it is. I believe it is. Is that better?
Okay.
Tom Kellogg, Lehner Finland Associates, representing Mr. Vitale and his partner, Mr. Pizzo, is in the audience. We had this property had been rezoned previously to R1C, and this development is to, is in accordance with that ordinance now. Basically, we have 11 sites shown on our site plan. Recently, it was, we understood that we were going to have to provide retention, so we will lose one lot in the southern tier of lots. It's proposed as a single-family site condominium with one street in and bends to the west. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so the plat that you submitted is not what you ultimately will want approved?
Right, we had to leave some room for retention now, so.
Okay, so, okay, anything else?
No, here to answer any questions if.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Nguyen, I'm going to turn to you before I go to the commissioners.
Okay. We have several comments on the plan. The first is we're suggesting or recommending that the driveway into the site be designated as a public road with a standard 60-foot right-of-way. There's a couple of reasons for that. One of them, it would address a design flaw where it relates to front yard setbacks. If it's a private road, you typically measure the front yard setback from the edge of the pavement, which is 25 feet. If you do that in this site based on where the road is, you'll have a driveway straddling the sidewalk, and if a car is parked at front, it's going to block the sidewalk. Normally, in a public road, it would be measured 55 feet from the center line or 25 feet from the front yard setback, which would be the normal subdivision situation. So you have sufficient room, or if your garage were built to the front setback line, to have a car parked and not blocking the sidewalk. There's plenty of room on these lots to do that. I kind of drew up a design while I was analyzing this, and it works just fine. So they're not going to lose any lot or any substantial building area. The size of each lot, when that's taken into account, needs to be referenced on the plan just to validate the requirements with R1C. We were suggesting that a standard cul-de-sac be required at the end of Pine Brook Estates Drive unless we collectively determine there's some value in stubbing that road to the west property line. But if you look at the development pattern, it's probably unlikely that road would be extended in the future. The application did not include the standard traffic assessment study. The landscaping plan was barely legible. We really couldn't determine if they met the requirements of the ordinance. And the plan also includes a 15-foot strip of land that's parallel to the northern property line of Unit 1, and it's not clear what that is intended to be used for, so that needs to be addressed. The building department noticed that the project sign cannot be located in sanitary easement. We need a uniform garage placement plan. There's another comment from building about landscaping. A utility bond or a site improvement bond is going to be required, and fire hydrants should be located not more than 500 feet apart. And then there's another series of comments from our township engineer. Some of them are design related, some are submission deficiencies. Mr. Chairman, I think this project is feasible, what they want to do. There's sufficient land area. It's just that we do have some corrections that need to be made, and I think it would be better to see those before we take any action on this site tonight.
Okay, thank you. To the board, are there quite any questions of the petitioner? Okay, hearing none. This is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this subdivision approval request. All remarks will be entered into the record for Township Board evaluation. We are a recommending body, and the Township Board will evaluate our recommendation, which is a legislative body. The Township Board will make the final decision on this application. We're going to go ahead and take whatever comments. I think it is very likely we will not take action, or it's quite possible we won't take action on this, but I still want to hear what the residents' comments are. So if I can get your name and your address, and please sign in.
My name is Frank Bologna. I'm sorry that I interrupted you. I'm not the president of Thunder Bay 2. I'm just representing them. I'm a former board member. So if you could make that's a little embarrassing in the minutes to have me as president. If you could make that change, I'd appreciate it.
We'll note it.
The first thing I'd like to say is thank you very much, Glenn, for coordinating the response, the timely response we received from Mr. Kellogg. We really appreciate it. We come here in the spirit of fairness, and also we're here to develop a good relationship with the developer, Mr. Kellogg, and of course all of the co-owners that reside in that complex. We're not adversarial, but the one thing that we wanted to mention is that over the last decade we recreated the Franklin Bench Drain on a volunteer basis, and that's very important to us. It's not in a flooding stage at this point unless there's a prolonged rainfall. So we're looking forward to a good relationship with the co-owners and with the association. That's the end of my comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wish to comment?
That building envelope seems awful big.
They make them small.
My name is Kathleen Delia. I represent Heritage Place West Phase 1. I came here when you were going to rezone it, and my concerns are the driveway when we're going that way and they're coming this way. And today one of the members called me. She doesn't want to show up, but I have to tell you what she wants to say was, you know, if we're ready
Hey,
to...
can I ask you to pull that mic down a little bit? There you
I'm
go.
short,
Thank you.
right? Okay. If we're turning into Heritage Place going left and people are passing us, and if they're going to come out of a driveway coming this way, we're all concerned about accidents. And, you know, I don't know where the driveway was going to be. You said the road commission would look that over and that, but it just seems like it's going to be just so many people coming in and out of that one little area.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question? to
Sure.
the-
Oh, yeah, I need you to sign in too, please. Go ahead.
Ms. Delia, do you currently have a problem entering and exiting your condo association as is?
Well, yeah, like, you know, I face 22, and I don't leave after 3:30 until after 6, because it's bumper to bumper. When my mom was alive, she'd sit there and look at that, you know, it's bad. 22 is, and I don't know if they're going to ever make it wider, but then that would go further into what they're going to build, but, you know. But, yeah, it's bad. They're, you know, around 4:30, 5 o'clock, it's just bumper to bumper.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
John Kennedy, 14088, 22 Mile Road. I live directly across from the complex across, and they're building around me. And traffic's definitely going to be an issue. And I'm also curious as to how the runoff is going to work in the neighboring lots there, as to how that's all going to work, and everybody's not going to get flooded out by the situation.
So you live across 22 Mile?
I live on that.
On the north side of 22 or south side of 22?
I am I'm right next door to the development.
Okay.
So I was just curious about that.
Do you currently have a water problem?
Sally?
Sorry. Do I need to ask permission? Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you currently have a water problem on your site?
I do not have a problem between their property and my property currently. There is some between the house, my home and my neighbor's home, but that's worked out to where it doesn't cause either one of us any grief, and I was just hoping that we don't have any problem with that in the future.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Traffic stuff.
Anyone else wish to comment or ask questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you. To the petitioner. We'll start with the last question first. Concerns of the neighbors on runoff and maintaining the water.
All of the development will go through the township engineer to review the grading. We'll have rear yard storm sewers, so there should be no difference in what he's experiencing now.
The turn lane,
The drive entrance.
have you talked to the Department of Roads?
We have, and I think when we went in for rezoning, our site plan had the drive further west, and so we've shifted it to the east, so that it's basically as far away from the Heritage entrance as possible.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Nguyen?
we did get preliminary comments back from the road commission there requiring a bypass lane
Okay,
and tapers.
okay. Then regarding the questions regarding the drain and assuming responsibility, what are your comments on that?
Basically, if the Drain Commission is going to require us to put in a retention pond, they're going to lose a lot, and they're going to go through the expense of a retention pond. We don't really see that will impact the drain at all. We have to go back to our agricultural discharge rates.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any final questions for the petitioner from the board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Moved by Moore, support by DeSico. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, just for the benefit of anybody who's here, when this comes back, we won't re-notify all 360 people. If anybody wants a notice, put your name on that sheet, and we'll make sure you're notified when this comes back. So come back up. If those of you that didn't speak would like to be notified, we'd be happy to provide you with an agenda. And there will be an opportunity for public comment, and we continue that, but we won't put it in the paper again, and not everybody will get a notice again. So I want to make sure that's clear. Thank you. We'll just leave it up here for a few minutes when you're done.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nguyen. So at this point, we may recommend approval, disapprove of this request, or table it to evaluate the information further.
Chair?
Ms. Casali.
I move to table this site plan 14-07 for Pine Brook Estates until a revised plan addressing all of the concerns that Mr. Nguyen stated today, or the department comments, is submitted.
Support.
Okay, moved by Casali, support by Apone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Casali?
Yes.
Commissioner Apone?
Yes.
Commissioner Byer?
Yes.
Commissioner Waxmansky?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalu?
Yes.
Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Commissioner Bernardi?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Mr. Nguyen, anything under Planning Director's report?
Just a schedule change. We typically cancel the second regular meeting in May because it coincides with Memorial Day, and we'll do that again, but we're going to have some agenda items, so we're going to schedule a meeting on that Wednesday. So I wanted to let everybody know if you could at least mark that on your calendars. We'll have the meeting on the 28th. There's enough that's been coming in that we don't want to delay somebody another 2 or 3 weeks if we don't have to, so if you can make it, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Business from the floor. Is anyone that wishes to address this body? Something? Saying none. I'll entertain one more motion. Mr. Byer?
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Moved by Commissioner Byer, supported by Commissioner Dalu. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned.